I see that football is popular in India, despite the defeat last night. But when you have a long-term vision, it helps to focus on the future, and that's what we are here for. I came here with my team and of competent people and we have only one target, is to make of India a great football nation. And until now, having met the president and the vice president, I believe that we are all on board, and we all have the same target. I'm here a little bit to explain what we see on our side, and I'm here as well to learn a lot from you to what is the strengths and the weakness of Indian football, and together we can of course achieve something big, and I believe in a relatively short time. If you're interested, we can give you our vision, but I'm very much interested as well in your vision and your idea of development of a game.
Fantastic. Yesterday the academy was inaugurated. What are the main targets and goals of the academy? And this is a question for both Mr. Wenger and Mr. Chaubey.
Well, it is basically to maximize the potential of India and of every country in the world. That's why it is my job. I ask you one question. You take three boys, one born in Mumbai, for example, one born in Sao Paulo, and one born in Paris. Is after one day a difference between the three, football-wise? No. Is after 1 year a difference between the three? No. If after 15 years is a difference on the quality of the players, personally I would say yes. And if I ask you if after 20 years is a difference between the quality of the three players, I would say yes. And that is only down, in our opinion, not because when you're French, you're a better football player born, just because you got the education that is needed to develop a football player. And that's the only reason. And that's what we analyzed in the game. It is the differences between the country is linked with the quality of the education. And that's why we are here. And that's what the academies want to achieve, is to wipe out that difference by the quality of the education.
We have a jam-packed room here today, which is very, very
extensive experience globally. What do you think will be some unique challenges, some unique opportunities in shaping the football landscape in India?
The challenges in India are very simple. First of all, you need to better identification of talent inside the country. It starts with that, Our program is called Every Talent a Chance. I must say, I'm convinced in India, not every talent gets a chance. The second important part from us is we are convinced you have to put the best with the best together, because that is a stimulation, and football is learned with difficulties that you experience when you play against good players. And we want to identify the talent. We want to, of course, put the best with the best. We want to give them good coaching, and we want to give them as well quality of our competitions. And after, the final step is to integrate them in a first team. And this is something that we have to do together. We are here to help. And we do not want anything. We just want to give what we learn from all the countries in the world. And we have learned by analyzing football in the world, we have realized that the top-ranked countries in the world are just the countries who have a better system of education. It's as simple as that. It's a huge correlation, basically 100% correlation between quality of education and results of the first team. And so we can only give what we see, and what we see is evident, is obvious, you know. And for us, it's easy because we have a landscape of the world. And we're just here to say, look, that's what's happening in the world. That's what you have to do. We are here to help. And that's why in the last 3 days, we spoke a lot about the problems on both sides and how we can help you. I personally feel there's a cooperation here. But ideally, we have opened an academy. I must tell you as well, ideally, you want 40 academies, you know? And nobody from north to south, from east to west, can escape with a talent and is not detected. Of course, maybe we might have slowly to compromise to find the most efficient solution, but we have to see how we can do that, and that's why we need, I think, the cooperation of everybody who has potential here. It's from the States, from the AIFF, it is as well from anybody, big sponsors who want to develop football, and that's why it's difficult, but I must say as well from us, it's very exciting and very interesting. When I see the audience on television in India about the game, but unfortunately it's not the Indian game, it's the European games, you know. And that means the love for the game is there. But people want to watch quality. So we have to produce quality. Today, what has changed in the last 20 years, people have access to the top level games in the world. They sit at home, push on the television button, and they get what they want. So we want to give them what is locally. And to do that, people are not stupid, they are intelligent, and they can compare. And so we have to do something together to develop the potential of a country. 20% of the world population. No, it's so obvious and so easy to see what has to be done, but we know what we have to do, now we have to do it.
Okay, before I come to you, just a follow-up question to the one that was asked.
Yes, because I believe that sport is to do, in football especially, is to do with your feet what your brain wants. And I still want to play, but my feet don't listen to me anymore. So what we want to do is to educate people at a very young age, because you cannot learn to play football at 15 years of age. You know, you need to kick the ball at 4, 5. We have videos at FIFA where we see girls and boys at 5, 6 years old, amazing, you know. So you have to start well, early, and we come in at the age of 12 to finish the education. At 16, at around 15, you start to specialize in the position, defender, midfielder, striker, and you go more into competition. But we have to equip the player before the age of 16 to be as perfect as possible technically, and as well develop his singularity to see what makes this girl or boy strong and develop it. We have seen last night, we do not want every player to look like the next one. We want as well to develop who he is, what he has to express. And that demands competence, and that's why I brought with me a team who has that experience.
Brilliant. Yes.
Hello. Hello, sir. I'm Dulaldev from Kolkata. Sangbad thinks it's good for us. Thank you.
Well, that's a very good question and a difficult one to answer. But we basically think we create the first academy, we bring our own coach who develops the players, and they are assisted, this guy is assisted by our own technical team who is here. After that, our target is to educate as well the coaches inside the country. And that's why AIFF needs to cooperate with us, that we can educate the coaches and develop the coaching quality inside the country. We cannot produce 50 coaches because we have 211 countries. So what we want to do is to delegate 1 or 2 or 3 maybe and educate the coaches. But as well, we want to help the country to identify the talent. And I have brought people here who are specialized in educating people to identify the talent. So it is quite simple. We have to start well. And the start is identification of talent. And we want to educate people that everybody, they can see what is good and what is less good, what has talent and what has future. And after that, cooperate locally to multiply that elite academy. Ideally, we have opened the first academy. If we can open more academy around and make of this academy an elite academy, that the best come up to that level, you will see very quickly a huge difference. And under 17 has been created. I wanted absolutely to organize a World Cup under 17 every year to give a potential that you can compare, you know, every year with where is the world, where are we? And in this kind of tournaments, when you qualify, what we plan is to play the qualifiers in spring and the World Cup October, November every year, so that everybody gets a chance to compete at the international level. Because we realized as well in our analysis that the girls and boys who have more experienced international games at the age of 17, 18, in Europe they play more international games than in the rest of the world. And it is an advantage for them as well. Look, we are not here to say we know and you don't know. You know, we want to find solutions together. We have a good image of what world football is about because we penetrate inside every country. And I believe as well that India is booming economically, and it is a great opportunity to get everybody on board and try to do really something, not half. I prefer not to do anything, but do it really. And that's why we have to find a solution that is really efficient. And to be honest, you know as well, for me today, in the last 30 years, India is ranked about 100th country in the world, sometimes worse, but very rarely better. Is this the real place for India? No. So what do we do about it? That's the question I ask you. And that's where we have to find an answer together. And I lived a long time in competitive football. You can talk and talk. At the end, you have to do.
Hi, Arsene. I just wanted to, you mentioned that you need multiple academies to grow football in India. And obviously all stakeholders have to sort of, you know, be united in this. So the state FA's clubs also play a big role. You've been obviously in club football so many years. So what advice would you give to the clubs in terms of, you know, developing talent, and how will this academy be, you know, helping the clubs in any way to?
Well, the clubs, you basically want to say, how can the clubs help us? The clubs have to create academies as well, and of course to develop the young players. We want to cooperate with the clubs. It's very needed. And but I just think, I was at the game last night, so the best Indian player played, but a selection of the best players, and I suppose that the clubs are involved in that. No, they play all these players who played last night, played inside the clubs. So I believe there is room for improvement, and that's what we want to do together with the clubs. I will meet the club owners as well, so they will give certainly speak about their problems, and we are here to find a solution together. Look, I try to convince you that the education is absolutely vital. Just to give you I witnessed two experiences. When I was a kid, in France, was no education. When I was 24, 25, the education started. And in 84, the education started in 73. In 84, France became European champion, and in 98, world champion. And since they are world champion or in the last or in the final. When I arrived in England, 96, when England played against France, who had already the education, they lost 5-0 under 17, under 20. Jet, Roddy is here, he developed the academies in England. Today, England is world champion as well, under 17, under 20, you know. It just are two examples that very simply show what has changed between the first and the second moment is just the quality of the education and the rationality of the system. Experience, the schools, football in schools is great. They are not equipped by the quality of the coaches to compete at the specialized football players. They can contribute. In all the examples I've seen, when the federation does not organize the education of a discipline, it doesn't work at the top level. The schools are not enough. They can contribute. They can be a side help to strengthen our system. But it has to start from the federation and the clubs. And all the examples I've seen in Europe worked only when the federation took charge of the education.
Okay, before I move on to the next question, just want to make a quick announcement that we have a lot of friends from the media fraternity who couldn't be here today, but have joined us online and are watching this press conference being streamed. So in case there's anybody out there who wants to ask a question, we will be taking some questions. So please do post some questions, and I will convey those questions to our party on the dais. Yes, next question.
Mr. Wenger, Indian football has been on the rise lately, has seen multiple successes this year. The All India Football Federation, the Indian Super League, they're working in synergy for growing the footballing ecosystem in India. How do you see those efforts coming together in line with FIFA's investment into the sport in the country?
Well, by cooperating well, and the President can explain to you how he wants to cooperate with us. We do not demand anything. We just want to help, you know. And but we want as well to tell you the truth of what we see. And after that, the main part is the federation. They have the power to change football in this country. We are here to help, and with our knowledge, with our expertise, and that's as simple as that. Look, you have a strength and the weakness. That's how I see it for being completely from outside. The strength is the number of people. The weakness is the size of a country and the difficulty to organize it in a rational way, you know. And so we have to really use the strength of a country. How can we do that? By organizing rationally all the education and detection of talent. What is not done at the moment. You know that as well, even better than I do. So we have to make of that strength a real weapon by organizing well all the rest.
Okay, yeah. Next question.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Wenger. This is Rohan from Times. We understand this is your first visit to get your frank assessment of the difference in level that currently exists.
And there was one more player, Nicolas Anelka, who spent 2 seasons here, who you signed, I believe, for 500,000 back in the day.
Yes, many of my good players came here. Robert Pires, I met him just before coming here, and I asked him, tell me how are the Indian players? He said to me, they are quite good, but they don't know well the discipline of a tactical discipline of a team. So I would say honestly, yesterday I feel that the Indian team didn't perform well, and that Qatar had a deserved win, and it reinforced my desire to change things in India, you know, because when you think you had the 11 best players out, and Qatar was what you all have seen, the best team by a good distance, comfortably, and that's what you want to change.
Mr. Wenger, I have a question for you. Talking of the top teams, the best teams in Asia, you spent a lot of time in Japan before they became consistent in one of the top countries in Asia. What are the learnings that India can take from what took place in Japan, and how optimistic are you that we can do something similar here in India?
Yes, Japan was in a similar situation. And I arrived in 95 in Japan. I worked in a club, and I built a training center straight away inside the club, and I created an academy, and the academy has been replicated in all the clubs after, because I worked a lot with the professional league. It was the start of professional football, and they were before corporate clubs and became professional clubs. So the strength was they had strong companies behind. My club was Toyota, so they gave me the money to build the training center, you know. It was a question of desire and financial potential, but the Japanese did it that very well. They started 93, the professional league, 98, they played at the World Cup. And today they have their players playing all over the world. I must tell you, in every training session at that time, every one of my training sessions was on their computer. They analyzed everything, and they really worked to improve the education. And the training sessions were replicated at youth level, and they worked well. They were not ahead of India at the time.
And how did you combat the language barrier there?
The language barrier was difficult, but it was as well, I feel, a protection for them to be invaded by too many negative influence from outside. And overall, you know, they have that natural protection to keep their own identity. And what I try to do is to convince them they have not to compare themselves to Germany or to Italy because the players were stronger. You have to survive with your own culture, to identify the strengths of your culture, and by develop these strengths. If you want to be massive and have bodybuilders, you will not be successful. I believe that India has to go for a game based on technical top quality, mobility, movement, team spirit, and desire to do well, what is naturally the attributes of a country. When I see people, they want to do well. Last night the team had a fantastic attitude. They wanted to do well. But that's why you have to develop what can make you strong. And in my opinion, it is mobility, movement, and team spirit, and top technical quality.
Mr. Wenger, one final question from my side before we today, who are going to see this academy starting, and those who maybe in 20 years' time could be propelling us to qualify for a FIFA World Cup. A message for them.
Well, a message, just encouragement, you know, to play. Love. It's not only to become professional football player. There's a small percentage who becomes professional football player, but it's fun. It's share, play with friends. It makes friends. You learn social life. You have fun. You never forget the strengths of the game. I believe really we are here because I personally believe that we can change the world. The advantage of football, I can play with an Indian tomorrow and share positive feeling because we see football in the same way. I can play with anybody from the world. You don't need to speak the language to have pleasure to play together. And that's why I believe that just enjoy, have fun, express yourself, and if you love it passionately, if you have luck to be gifted to use well your body, because are not all equally in front of that. Just enjoy it. And after, what we want to do is people have a special talent to identify them. But at the start, you need an opportunity to play. And then you need an opportunity to be, you need always, in life it's always the same. You need a good attitude, and at some stage somebody you meet who gives you a chance. So to kids, just let's play some stage. If you're talented, somebody will notice that and give you a chance.